We don't know if you've noticed, but Netflix has turned into a true crime documentary movie show hub. In this video, we'll talk about what the cast of The Good Nurse looks like compared to real life people. These adaptations can be a little eerie, so hold on tight and stay with us till the very end. Without further ado, let's get into it. Starting with, The Good Nurse cast is scarily identical. Usually, when actors take on roles of real life people, you expect them to look somewhat similar. And after Netflix did an amazing job with the Jeffrey Dahmer show, our expectations were high, to say the least. The Dahmer documentary show wasn't really the first time that Netflix nailed casting, because we've seen them do it quite a lot of times. The Good Nurse's casting team did a very good job at matching the characters to real life people as well. If you don't know already, The Good Nurse is Netflix's latest true crime movie. It's a story about Charles Cullen, who mercilessly murdered up to 40 people. Don't worry, he got caught and is serving a life sentence at the moment. Next up, the main character, Charles Cullen. The serial killer Charles Cullen is being played by Eddie Redmayne in the movie. Even though Cullen admitted to killing 40 people, many believe that he's killed almost 400. Now, this isn't a role that anyone can play. The creepiest detail about this casting is that when Charles got arrested, he was 43 years old, and Eddie at the time was 40 years old. The British actor is famous for his roles in movies like Fantastic Beasts, Where to Find Them, and The Danish Girl. Luckily, he isn't anywhere close to being the serial killer he's playing. According to the movie's director, Tobias Lindholm, Redmayne was his first casting choice for Charles' role. He said that there's no other person than Eddie who can convey the complexities of the human mind as easily as he can. Moving on, how did Eddie tackle this role? When Eddie was asked about how he tackled such a complex role, he said that he didn't really know who Charles was, so it took a lot of research. He also read Charles Graeber's book that the movie's based on. He also told Netflix that the real-life Amy Loren, who we'll be discussing later, helped Redmayne a lot during the shooting of the movie. She talked him through the character and helped him understand Charles Cullen as a person, how he dressed, how he talked, what he was like, and much more. As for Charles Cullen, he worked as a nurse at several hospitals and nursing homes in New Jersey and Pennsylvania. Actually, according to reports, he was fired and forced to leave by at least 6 nursing facilities. Charles was arrested in December of 2003 after he admitted to his chilling crimes. Cullen murdered terminally ill patients by injecting potions of lethal heart medicines and insulin into IV fluids. He'd also switch off the ventilators or give unprescribed medicines without consent. As of now, Cullen is serving 11 life sentences under protective custody at the New Jersey State Prison. Coming up, The Good Nurse, Amy Loren. Amy is a real-life superhero. She outed Charles to the police and worked with the authorities to bring him down. She's played by Jessica Chastain in the movie. The Oscar-winning actress has brought a lot of characters to life. She's worked in blockbuster movies like IT, Interstellar, and Scenes from a Marriage. It's quite obvious why a director would pick her to play a role so important. While on the set talking about her life, Jessica said that Amy used to come to the set and observe them. It was a new thing for her. She said that even though she's played several roles in the past, this experience was completely new. Amy wasn't invasive though, because let Chastain Eddie take ownership of the story. Chastain also talked about how she got pretty self-conscious because the person she was playing was right there observing her. Just like the antagonist of the movie, the protagonist was also the director's first casting choice. Tobias told Netflix that Jessica was his choice from the get-go. He loved her since The Tree of Life and Zero Dark 30. When Loren was asked about her thoughts on Chastain playing her character, she told that it brought a sense of pride to her. Amy said she has never come to terms with what she did, and she never felt the pride she should have. There was a lot of judgment towards her. So, watching the Interstellar star do justice to her character brought a lot of peace and contentment to her. Following up, what is she up to now? Besides being a nurse, Loren's official website revealed her many careers. She's actually very talented. Her website says that she is a Reiki master, NLP practitioner, an integrative energy healer, and a couple of more professions. She learned these practices from Byron Katie. She was interviewed by several media outlets at the movie's premiere and attended all the shows and events as well. Moving on, Tim Braun, the head detective. Playing law enforcement characters isn't anything new to Noah Emmerich. He played an FBI agent in The Americans. He also had roles in The Truman Show and Super 8. Noah is playing the lead detective in The Good Nurse, Tim Braun. He took the case of Charles Cullen's twisted, murderous spree. While Noah is a famous actor, his life revolved around playing these thrilling characters. Tim Braun is a thrilling character. Tim had been working in law enforcement for 23 years already when he took the Charles Cullen case, and at that point, he had received almost 50 departmental awards for his performance throughout the years. The Good Nurse was his last major case. He retired right afterwards. Later on, he became a consultant at the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, also known as NCMEC. Tim's still serving the center and now lives in New Jersey with his family. He's also serving as an official for a lacrosse team. Braun appeared at the world premiere of The Good Nurse alongside his co-worker Danny Baldwin, who we'll be talking about next. Up next, Danny Baldwin, the other detective. The actor, producer, and former football cornerback who played for NFL teams is now an on-screen detective as well, Nnamdi Asomugha. He's married to the School for Good and Evil and Scandal star Kerry Washington. In the movie, he's playing Danny Baldwin, one of the two detectives who were investigating Charles Cullen with Amy Loren. In real life, Danny Baldwin investigated around 150 homicides and closed most of them successfully. One thing that's common between the actor and the true-to-life character is their success. Since his case with Charles Cullen, Baldwin got a master's degree in administrative science, served as an adjunct criminal justice professor, and was also a professor at Mammoth University. Wow, that is a lot of career paths for one person. Eventually, he left law enforcement and became the principal CEO of Trident Security and Investigations. And as of recently, he also joined the NCMEC like his co-worker. Coming up, Linda Garin, the one character that we've no clue whether they look like the actor or not, because they've been mysterious about their identity online. The character of Linda Garin, who's Mary Lund in real life, is played by Kim Dickens. Linda, or Mary, whatever you'd like to call her, was actually a risk manager at the Somerset Medical Center. Even though there isn't any news or pictures of her online, we found out from her LinkedIn that she's still working there. Unlike many characters in the story, Mary was very hush about the investigation, so much so that the nurses were pretty intimidated to talk about anything when she was present. According to many news resources, Linda reported 4 unnatural deaths to the New Jersey Department of Health. The hospital requested that Linda should be present at the time of the investigation and interviews with the hospital staff. Shady move, but okay. Lund's presence affected the interviews to a great extent, so much so that Danny wasn't sure about many of the nurses' responses. He was skeptical that the nurses were lying because they'd reflexively look at Lund whenever they were asked a question. So he couldn't be sure if they were just being quiet in front of Mary, or did they actually not know anything about the case. Finally, the actors are far different from the real life people. Even though all these actors did a great job at portraying real life people, we can't look past the fact that these people have very different lives from each other. All of these actors and characters have very challenging roles. The casting directors of the movie did a pretty good job. The resemblance between the two main characters is almost uncanny. While, except for Amy, we don't know what other people think of the actors playing them. It would have been interesting to find out their views. Also, do you think Charles knows that there's a whole movie about him and his cold murders? That's a wrap for this video. Which actor do you think is the most similar to their real life character? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you at the next one.